What's up, guys? Bringing Elliot in. What's up, buddy? I can hear you moving around. See if I can mute that mic. All right, talk to me, buddy. Give me something, bud. You there?
Ooh, that's not good.
What?
Hang on, I gotta mute this.
Breaking technology. So anyways, while Elliot tries to fix his setup over here, because we're very high tech, we did an AMA on Friday into Saturday, answered a bunch of questions, some of which we wanted to go into more detail on, some of which we didn't answer. So we thought it'd be really fun to talk to you guys and do some questions live. Sound cool? So first, before we get going, I just want to shout out to our patrons. We've had a bunch of new folks jump in and support us this past month, which is really cool. We broke 300 patrons, which is surreal. And we've got a bunch of really cool content coming out. So we just released the episode yesterday with Dr. Brian Dale, which was really great. Good conversation, really interesting dialogue about utopia and eco-agriculture and labor unions and things like that. This week coming up, we've got an episode on Indigenous Ireland, which is great. Elliot learned a whole lot about whiskey and bears. You'll have to listen more to know why we learned all about bears. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. It's a really fun episode. So before we get going, I was hoping a few more people would be able to jump on first, but I think I forgot to post it on the Discord, so I should probably do that right now. Elliot, say hi. See if I don't know if your microphone's working, so I want to make sure it does. Nope. Hold on. Try this. Talk again. Nope. Oh, wait. Hold on. How about now? Third time? Nope. We heard you before until you started trying to play God with your computer. Still nothing.
How about now?
I hear noise. I hear you. I hear that silky, smooth voice.
Is that good?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
All right, that's coming through my phone.
Cool. So I can just get rid of this other one?
Yes.
Cool. All right, that's good enough. How's it going, my man?
You
having
know,
a good day?
Taking it one day at a time here.
How's that snow?
Not 12 steps or anything, but, I'm doing all right.
How is the snow down there? Would you guys get hammered?
Yeah, we got 18 inches. Yeah. A lot of snow. My back feels great.
So yeah, sheep are loving it. It's kind of creepy because the snow is so high right now. The fence looks really short, and I'm like, they're just gonna jump over it. But they're fat, so they're not gonna jump over it. But it looks like it. It looks scary.
They look like they're just sweeping across the top of the snow.
Yeah, it's amazing. They just look like these like clouds with heads that just like move around all the snow. It's amazing. So yeah, let's pull up some questions and see if anyone has questions as we get going.
Q&A.
All right. Let's see. All right, so the first question that we had, or that I want to talk about, is on the Ottawa protests. So I posted about it, and I kind of wanted to dig in a little bit deeper because it's a really complicated and nuanced subject. There's definitely some weird crossbreeding going on right now. We've got so what we've seen really is the last couple of years, or the last year more so than the couple of years. There's been this very clear division that's been building up on the left between people that have been focused on the collective good of like, if everyone gets vaccinated, like then we can move on. And then you've got the other side that's like, mandates are inherently wrong because of the fact that it's a state power that's coercing people into doing XYZ. And like they're both valid arguments. Like I don't think there's really many people that can say like the other side doesn't make any sense at all. But what's happened is like we've and I don't know if this is related to like people being stuck in their houses for the last 2 years or not, but the inability to have conversations across the, between those two sides where each side can recognize the value of what the other side is saying seems to have kind of gotten lost. And I see a lot of the anti-vax left getting more involved in some of the alt-right involvement in this like idea of like individual sovereignty, with the idea of like this is something that's of paramount importance because of the fact that you know if we allow the government to do this, then there's like no turning back, blah blah blah. And they a temporary camaraderie has kind of, I don't want to say it's morphed yet, but like we can see the framework starting to happen. And the fact that so much of the left is in denial about the fact that like there's been pictures of like the three arrows flag being like waving in Ottawa and being like, oh, they're stealing, they're co-opting our stuff, blah blah blah. They might be, but equally, I would say there's a very good chance there are people that are actively organizing under the wide umbrella of like anti-vax, anti-mandate, anti-state power because they see that as the bigger threat right now. And I think that really gets played out in a lot of different spaces on the left, especially in the ag side, because there's like this weird overlap of like naturalism and like these ideas of like, I don't want to say like survival of the fittest, but understanding that nature has something more to offer than us reacting to it. So yeah, that was my thoughts. Is like there's a very complicated web, and we're just starting to see that outline kind of happen. And the fact that a lot of people are just ignoring it and saying that it's not actually true is like dangerous. It's just really dangerous. So your thoughts?
I think it's a lot of people. I guess I'm speaking of the trucks in particular and the people who are supporting them. It seems like they're exclaiming pretty loudly what they want. And I guess majority rules if you want to talk about democracy. So you can not like it, but you have to have a persuasive argument in order to sway the other side and maybe combat the trucks, sort of like Autobots versus Decepticons, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a weird it's a weird situation in that like we have like really unlikely bedfellows organizing under like a very broad like what would seem fairly universal like anti-state position, which like a lot of people can get behind. Like I don't think there's many people that are like, do you want to give the state more power? And the response is yes. So like it's like a very easy thing to like fall under a similar umbrella. But conversely, like part of the reason we're in the mess we're in is because of that mentality. And like I think there's a valid part to both sides. And the fact that we're not willing to have that dialogue has been the most damaging thing of all.
Sure.
I think that's been like the gas on the fire, so to speak. So, so that was kind of my thoughts on that. Another question people had asked that I thought was going to be a little bit too convoluted for doing in a post was, what do you think the 2024 election looks like? So I don't know, do you want me to go again first, or you want to take that?
I don't know, dude. I mean, it's such a clown show. How do you follow up the past two elections and the two presidencies? I really don't know.
All right. So let me ask you before we even like start talking about this: does Biden run again?
Can he physically? I don't think he can.
So if he can be the president, theoretically, he can physically also run for president. But yeah, I don't. So I think that's like the first and most important piece of the conversation, because whether or not it's Biden kind of dictates how the conversation begins. Because if it's not Biden or Harris, then like the attacks against his failed presidency are there. It's not that they kind of go to the wayside, but it's more of a, it's not as easy to tie somebody else down to Biden's policy failures.
If he gets a second presidency, you're saying?
If it's not him, yeah,
If it's not him.
yeah. So like if so, say I don't know, Amy Klobuchar, just because why not? Just say she was the nominee. Like you wouldn't be able to be like, well, all these failed Biden policies, you know, are going to continue because of her. They probably would, but like she's also not involved with. She's not like a meaningful person in like dictating what Biden's policies have been. So like if he doesn't run, it does open up a different conversation, which could be a good or bad thing depending on how you want to look at it and what you think is good and bad. So like, do you think he's going to run regardless of whether or not he physically can?
No,
You don't?
no.
I think he would be the first sitting president who didn't run for office for re-election that was capable of it. I think. I should have looked that up before I asked that. I got a little too wild and just went straight for it. I don't know. I haven't decided if I think he's going to run. I think he knows the writing is on the wall that he'll lose. I think he's too full of himself not to run. But there's also a lot of people around him that could also strong arm him into being like, yeah, you know what? You're going to go and we're going to go to the beach and we're going to go look at seashells today. And then he's going to forget that he was president like in an hour or two. Like, I think that's a very valid like scenario. So yeah, I think if Biden doesn't run, and we'll go with that for now. First off, who do you think's going to run as the Democratic ticket?
See, that's when you asked me the question earlier. That's what I was like. I have no idea. I have no idea who would run in place of Biden. So I knew I was in a trap if I said no, he doesn't run. The follow-up question is gonna. I'm baffled. I don't know what to say because
Yeah,
I can't picture it. Like I.
yeah, it's a weird thing because like Kamala Harris is probably the least liked vice president in like recent history, other than like Dick Cheney. Um, and that bar like
You think that's the
Dick
one-two
Cheney.
punch?
Dick Cheney was like a really low bar, and like she's not quite below it, but she's not far above it. She's really done nothing to like make herself appealing to like a massive portion of the country. Um, so I think they know that's a sinking ship, but they've also been stubborn enough with Hillary Clinton to not give a shit. Um, so I think in terms of like whether or not they'll run her, I think they will. I think it's like the worst possible idea. And like to be completely honest, I don't really think it matters who runs for the Democratic Party because the Republicans are going to win. And I do think Trump will win again. He's been like basically going around the country like giving speeches about the election, and like he's gonna run because he's afraid he's gonna go to prison and he doesn't know how to stay in his house and be happy. So he's like
So you think Trump's gonna run again?
Trump is going to be the only other president other than Teddy Roosevelt to have won non-consecutive elections.
My God.
Yes, just think about like what that means about this country. But like it makes sense because Trump was a reaction to the fact that like centrist and even liberal leaning policies didn't do shit for working class people, and like Joe Biden literally didn't change anything. Like if you go through all the things he had proposed, like literally not one of them has changed. He has succeeded in zero things in his entire candidacy. Like it's almost impressive how little he has done.
Isn't that what president means?
Yeah, hand it to Trump. He actually did the things he said he was going to do to like the detriment of a large majority of like Americans and like other people in this country. For better or worse, he actually was like one of the only people that did what he said he was going to do. And like I don't know how to say this loud enough, but people that were very anti-Trump then and are anti-Trump today are like in like some of the trade clients that I have just been like, I hate him. but at least he like tried to do something. And even if it wasn't about like making me like my personal situation better, it was about trying to do something because people were telling him to do it. And like theoretically, that's what our president should do. This idea of like listen to your constituents and then try to enact the things they want. People in this country may be like predominantly crazy because of a very complicated and dangerous media ecosystem that we live in, but like at least he tried. And that's a really frightening thing. It's a really frightening tool when people who don't like you are like, at least he's gonna do something. Like it's better than Biden literally just like watching the fucking Titanic go down. Uh, so that brings up the question of like, what would his vice president be, and also Kamala Harris if she were to run. So I think his vice president would probably be somebody young, somebody charismatic. I don't think he's going to go with
Somebody
somebody,
expendable.
yeah, somebody who's expendable and is also going to reach a different audience than him. Like Mike Pence did that with like the religious right. Like that was his whole point was like you take a religious character and try to draw that audience in. And now it's a little bit different because we've had a lot of these very public religious figures, like in like ardent defense of Trump. So I don't think the need for that religious right is really there anymore. I think what Trump does is either pick someone that's super charismatic and young because of the fact that he's old, but with like similar like political beliefs, or to go after somebody that's like very very mainstream. Like I think it's going to be one of those two, and I think it'll be like Nathaniel Cawthorn, who we talked about like when we did the pre-election episode. I don't know if you remember that, when we had said like these are our predictions for the election, and we were pretty much dead on everything, which is like in retrospect really frightening. But I had said then my biggest concern was Nathaniel Cawthorn and at the time he was still a nobody, and now he's made a lot of mistakes. He's very in fear of losing his spot in North Carolina. Um, but I think he's also smart enough to like pick himself back up and figure out how to do what Trump does, but without getting basically caught in the weeds. So like I think he could be like a really good like he offers a couple different things. He's young, he's charismatic, he's handicapped. So he's in a wheelchair. It takes away a lot of the weapons of the left or Kamala Harris to like play the like you don't care about like marginalized people card because you've got a guy that's in a wheelchair, which to Trump's point would make a lot of sense. So that's my concern. The
um,
Go ahead.
I see somebody mentioned in the chat DeSantis coming out of Florida, and it's funny because my buddy mentioned that the other day, saying how DeSantis was a wild card coming out of Florida, picking up momentum and a little bit of popularity. He seems to have done pretty well during COVID for Florida, and people are happy about it. So that could be the wild card coming out that Trump might be able to use and swing momentum from down that way.
Yeah. I think if Trump were to die before the next election, that would actually be the candidate that would run and probably take the nominee. But hold on, I hear some barking in my backyard.
So yeah. I still can't really think of who else would have run besides Trump or Biden. I'm really racking my brain here. I got nothing.
No idea what that was. But yeah, so I think like DeSantis would make a little bit of sense in terms of like Florida being the wild card state. Um, he also like barely lost North Carolina again. Nathaniel Cawthorn kind of checks that ticket as a swing state candidate. Um, in terms of like a more centrist, like if you wanted to say like what's your hot take in terms of candidates that nobody would see coming, I think you would pick what the fuck's his name, the Democratic guy in West Virginia, Joe Manchin, because people would be like, why are you taking a Democrat? And because the Democrats are so far left that he's considered right by them, and he would absolutely take that ticket. Like I think that's your hot take of 2023, 2024, is that Joe Manchin will be the Democratic or Republican VP nominee.
Okay.
As far as Kamala Harris, thoughts on who her VP pick would be?
I'm thinking one of the senators from Minnesota, either is there a name Klobuchar?
Amy Klobuchar,
Yep,
the clobber.
the clobber.
So she'd be an interesting pick because of the fact that she's universally hated. But that's never slowed the Democrats down. She's like, I think if you go with like a Harris pick as your president for or your candidate for presidency, she's definitely going to pick somebody who is checks off some kind of box that she doesn't. So I think like Mayo
Pete.
yeah, Pete
I was gonna
Buttigieg,
say
he would be a potential candidate. Um, either him or maybe Amy. I I have a really well, he wouldn't check off the box, but like Gavin Newsom would be like a candidate that I think is like believes that he would be qualified and would make a concerted effort to be, because he was like the face of like the Democratic response to like COVID. And for better or worse, like some people have those strong feelings about him. So I've been told. I don't know. But I would be suspicious that that's kind of the direction is either like go for that full intersectional candidacy, like a two woman ticket or a woman like Harris and like a gay man or something like that, where you'd be able to like be trying to pick up different like collections of like candidate or voting pools. So like I don't think it'd be based on like policy necessarily, just like who has like the right PR look. And depending where COVID is in a year and a half, that could be Gavin Newsom, or it could be somebody who hasn't even like done anything yet but does. So we got time. We got a lot of time to be miserable about the 2024 election. Don't you worry. We're just like scratching the surface.
you don't think that could be the momentum they need is an all women ticket going into the election to swing towards combating Trump and his isms?
Yeah, I mean, like who else would Harris pick? Maybe like Elizabeth Warren. I don't know. Like
All right,
Amy
let's stop this
Klobuchar.
conversation. I'm done with it. Moving
Uh,
on.
yeah, I think Matt's trying to jump on. I can't see. Yeah. So we might have our third party, our consultant. Oh, look who that is. And coming in with the correspondence is Matt. Uh, so Matt, who are you? Are you a Klobuchariot or are you on Team Warren gang? Can't hear you, bud.
He's got the same problem.
We lost you. I can hear you clicking. So there's that. Yeah, as for the Green Party, I have no idea. I am assuming that like Howie Hawkins will run again. It'll be pointless because every year since I've been alive, this idea of like, well, if they just get to this point, then they'll hit critical mass and blah blah blah. It's not going to happen. It's never going to happen. This is America. There's a massive media infrastructure that'll push for that to never happen. Yeah. So, Matt, do you have any thoughts on the 2024 election, other than like don't have it? Still can't hear you. All right. Well, while he tries to figure out that, the next question we had is, what's an experimental agricultural project you'd like to do? I can't read today. I can't. So yeah, there's a couple different things I've been thinking about trying to do that would be like, I guess, novel. One of which is like we did this episode on coppicing and this idea of like, you're putting in trees that have like super deep roots. They grow up, you chop them down, and like you can do that every couple of years, like especially with like willow and things like that. Now, one of the challenges on like really steep areas is trying to figure out how to retain the soil and to keep the lands, stuff from rolling down the hill, basically. So what I've been thinking about is this idea of like super dense planting trees like a foot apart and then like grazing them basically like a coppice grazing field, which I think would be pretty cool. Now I can't hear you, Elliot. Are you guys screwing with me?
How about now?
I got you, Matt. Elliot. Still can't hear you, Matt. Keep playing with it. We're just gonna look at your beautiful face.
So are you gonna coppice in the orchard that you were trying to make in your backyard?
Well, I'll
Past the
be
sheep?
doing some coppicing, but I'm thinking like there's a steep hill in my backyard that's like it's like a 30-foot drop off in about a 20-foot span. And I was thinking about it, and I'm like, all right, I could put grass in, but grazing's really tough, especially in like wet conditions or whatever. It's just going to get destroyed. So I was thinking something like a coppice paddock would be a really cool. Like I'd probably only do like a 10 by 10 section just to see what it was like and if it worked. But I think it'd be really cool just to see if it would actually do that. Yeah, so like black locust, I was thinking like black locust and willow would make a really good
You're
pairing.
talking about doing it on that incline though, right?
Yeah. So like you could do like if you spaced out the black locust like every 5 feet. So I guess in a 10 by 10 space, you'd have like 6 of them. And then the rest could be willow, like 780 willow, something like that, 90 willow. Um, It'd be a cool little project just to kind of see what happened. I would imagine it's not sustainable because the coppice um, stumps just get bigger and bigger. Um, so that was just something I thought would be really cool. In terms of actual like experimental agricultural projects that I'd also like to do, I think it'd be really cool to try to restore to remove some of the cranberry bogs that are common around here on the coast and put in, try to reincorporate like traditional rice paddies. So like trying to reutilize that same exact site for just rice paddy instead would be pretty
Yeah,
cool.
we talked about that doing one of our episodes, I think, from Minnesota, from doing Monoman.
Oh yeah.
We talked about doing wild rice and trying to get that going back in Massachusetts. And we talked about, I don't think it was on the recording, but I think we were talking about cranberry bogs that were just lying useless because nobody was using them.
Yeah, there's a lot of cranberry bogs around us in like coastal New England that are um, they basically still exist because they're like historical and like there's a lot of sunk costs into developing them, but whether like they're not really used, like most cranberries don't actually even get like utilized for anything. So like the idea of like transitioning that to a traditional rice paddy or something like that, upland rice, because if you're not familiar with the way cranberry bogs work, they're basically like these steep hills, then these like valleys where water sits year round, and then they build up like this sandy material. And then like they plant all the cranberries in the sandy material, and then they basically flood it out a couple times a year. So it's like almost marsh, but it's like managed marsh. So there's not a whole lot of other stuff coming in. And what they do is when they flood it at the end of the season, it allows the cranberries all to float to the top, so they can just like scrape them right off the top. So like around here, around like I think it's October, September. I think September actually. They usually come through, and you'll just see like equipment everywhere scraping it all up. But like, despite producing like 98% of the cranberries in the world, we only actually use like a third of the ones they scrape. But it's all like subsidized because history or something. So,
And then
Matt,
after
can we
that,
hear you
they
now?
drain them and then burn them.
Can you?
Yep, you made it.
Sick.
What's your
All right.
2024 election pick?
Well, I was gonna say, I've been leading the Klobuchar charge.
There you go.
No, I don't know.
Don't want to think that far ahead.
It's awful. I'm just gonna keep voting for Howie Hawkins. I don't know. I'm also like I live in Vermont, so the election here doesn't make a huge difference. It's always going to go Democratic.
Yeah. Matt, do you have an experimental ag project? I know you've got some cool stuff going on. I'm going to jump off for a quick second so you can tell the lovely people.
Yeah, experimental ag project. And he wants to do coppicing and some stuff on an incline in his backyard just to see what happens.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. I heard him talking about like the grazing coppice black locust. That'd be pretty sick. I don't know if there's. I mean, like, I want to try growing flax. That's like I've never grown like a textile before. And just like being able to make like some twine, like make your own twine would be pretty cool. But like the other thing is like grinding the flax seed into linseed oil, and then you can use that like if you have linseed oil, you can make like a lot of different paints. So I mean, like I think that'd be really cool. You have to, get a good amount of seeds though for any sort of oil.
Sure. And flax is good for fiber. I know you can make twine out of it, but you can make like actual like textiles out of it and stuff too, right?
Yeah, you can make linen.
Linen
Right.
gang.
Yeah.
I got some blue flax going in.
That's what's going in this season?
I did, what flax did I use? I think I used red flax. Chickens got to it, didn't survive. So I'm going to try it again this year. I'm going to be a little bit more intensive with my chicken management. So one of the videos we'll be doing this summer on YouTube, and maybe we'll try to do it live on Twitch, depending on how boring we are, is to build a new custom chicken, essentially like a chicken tractor, but like not shitty and stupid. So if that goes well, then it'll be a really cool way to manage the chickens in a different way.
Not shitty and stupid.
No, not like that. We wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah.
You already did that.
Yeah, I've done that many times. I'm not doing it this time.
Speaking of tractors, I'd love to try a rabbit tractor.
I also would love to try a rabbit tractor. I just don't know if I can butcher a rabbit. They're like, I have a couple friends that do it, and I don't know. I can butcher chickens and ducks all day.
Not for nothing. It's got to be easier than both of those.
I don't know about that. I feel like chickens have like very simple like necks. Like it's very easy to know where to cut, and like they look like dicks, so you don't feel that bad about it. Like you don't feel as bad as like a thing that looks like it's gonna come to you for Easter.
Yeah, is it crossing the mammalian line? Is that like where you draw it?
Yeah, that's where I get less comfortable. And like rabbits just have like that fluff factor. I think I just gotta get like really ugly rabbits, then I won't care.
I just gotta tell you, like I told you with the chickens and the ducks, you just gotta be hungry. Makes it way easier.
Yeah, and plus the rabbits do make like a very sad sound. Like when I was a kid, there was a national forest behind my parents' house, and every once in a while a coyote would catch a rabbit, and it was just like the saddest thing you'd ever hear. So yeah, they're not easy animals to butcher, although they are delicious.
Would it make you feel any better if they died with a ferocious lion-like roar?
Yeah, actually. Can we breed for ugliness and lion roars in our rabbits? Then I will have no problem butchering them.
Oh man.
Priorities.
It'll take a while, but
speaking of ease of butchering, aren't they like famously easy to like clean?
Like I said, I haven't butchered one, so I couldn't tell you. Usually when I get my rabbits, they're already cleaned. So, I mean, they're whole rabbits, so you still have to break them down. And it's kind of creepy because if you've never cooked with whole rabbit, it like kind of looks a little bit like a person, like just a little bit. Like especially if all you've ever butchered are like chickens, ducks, or like broken down or chickens and ducks, or like I don't know, even like I don't know, their legs are smaller, so they don't look like a sheep or a goat or something like that.
It's like a little homunculus.
Yeah. Like, they got a little bit of like that like ape thing going on. It's kind of weird.
How about guinea
Um,
pigs?
I have not butchered a guinea pig, no.
Can we use guinea pigs up here?
You know,
I think
what
it's
was
too
there?
cold
Something
for
about
guinea
like
pigs.
there are parts of Southeastern Asia where there's like large guinea pigs that they actually use like as livestock. Like
Those
they're like 40
fucking
pounds.
capybara looking things.
Yeah. So they're like pigs that are guinea pigs, basically. Yeah,
I thought the capybaras were like South America.
they are. I don't know what the hell the thing is I'm talking about, but
Oh,
I remember reading about it. Um,
It looks like that though, right? But just in
yeah, kind of. That would be probably the best way to describe it. They're just like if guinea pigs got all grown up. So, all right. So
I was gonna
that's
Google it. I didn't even know what to Google.
giant guinea pigs in Asia. I don't know. All right. So next question we had: favorite movie, Elliot.
let's see.
I, Robot?
I get really excited for this old school skateboarding movie called Gleam in the Cube. I have it. It's
Oh, that's
got
not the one I was
Christian
hoping you
Slater
were
in
gonna
it.
say.
Oh, it's the best. It's like
Not
fucking
Brink?
Brink for skateboards. It's awesome. Nope. It's amazing. I think that might be my favorite movie. I watch it whenever I get sick and it makes me feel better.
I think mine's either Surf Ninjas or Big Trouble in Little China.
Both are equally good movies.
Those are great movies. If you've not seen Surf Ninjas, which is I think probably the smaller one or the one that's less known, highly recommend. Ernie Reyes Jr. And it's
Surf Ninjas?
Yeah, it's
Great movie.
It's basically Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles go to Southeast Asia. It's so good. And Brink is also great. I'm assuming that's the Tony Hawk movie.
No, that's
Oh.
Gleam in the Cube.
Oh,
Who
fine.
knows what I'm talking about?
Somebody does, not me. I never know what you're talking about. Matt, favorite movie?
well, I know we're gonna be talking about this 2 nights in a row, but Tremors, great,
Oh,
great series.
There's 11 of them.
11. You looked it up?
No, I think
Oh.
there's at least 5.
Yeah, there's like a crazy amount of Tremors movies, but they're just like, I don't know. It's like it's fun when it's like the bad guy's just like a monster movie, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah, this
it's
is-
it's campy and
yeah, like
not
Zombievers.
scary.
So
Yeah.
good. If you've not
It-
seen Zombievers, I highly recommend that too.
Wait, what was it?
Zombievers.
Haven't
Zombie
seen that
Beavers. Oh, it's so good.
Let's talk about Tremors just for a minute though, because I do remember that one, and it was just basically a movie of the floor is lava, and if you touch the floor instead of burning, the giant monster would just come up and eat you, like a land shark.
Fun.
Great
What
movie.
could go wrong?
I mean, it was really hard to go to the grocery store. I remember that scene. So
Ugh.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we got here. Actually, I think that's all we had for questions. Does anyone watching have any questions for us?
hit us live.
Yeah, it is live. Elliot, do you have questions for me? No?
I mean, you know what my question is. I ask it to you every time I come over.
Is it about my beautiful beard?
No, it's about when are you going to fix that reticle and get it off your 22 and put it where it needs to be?
No.
See? The answer is no. Short and simple. It's the only
Because it
time I
makes
can
you
get him
angry
to answer
every
a
time you
question
come over.
concisely.
Every time you come over, you walk into the studio, you turn right, look at my gun, a vein pops out of your head, and
It's
then
very
you just
annoying.
yell at me, and it's hilarious. No, we'll do it this summer, like when we can go outside and it's warm, and we'll put on my 308, and then we'll go like squirrel hunting with my 22.
Sounds good. I did get my AK.
You did?
I did get it. Yep.
Nice. Cool.
It's an interesting AK though.
What
It's
is
not
it called?
762. It's 556.
Oh yeah, we talked about that like last winter when you were talking about getting it, or spring or whatever the fuck that was. That was a long time ago.
That was 2 months ago.
You sure?
Yes.
Holy shit! Time is moving like the wrong way or something. I don't understand it anymore. I just don't. Yeah. So I guess we're all done with questions. Matt, do you have any questions for me? Matt.
No, not not that I can think of.
Unless you want to talk more about the Klobuchar train, like that's coming through.
Oh yeah, no, I really don't want to talk about the DNC.
Oh, actually, we never really answered that full question, I guess. So, 2024 election, what happens? We only got through like who the candidates could be, and then we decided to stop talking about it. That doesn't say what happens.
All right, we can circle back. I've calmed down, but if I get worked up, I'm just saying we got one more shot at it after that.
All right, so who's our president in 2024, Elliot? It's gonna be no president. There's gonna be a civil war. Joke's on you.
So there'd be two presidents.
There'd be dead
That's
presidents.
twice the presidents. That's exactly what we're trying to avoid.
Would two presidents even make anybody happy, or would it just piss
No.
everybody off?
No, it'd piss everybody off.
This is America.
See, nothing works. There's no right answer.
I'm not asking for a right answer. I'm asking for what happens.
What do you think the Republican primary is going to look like?
Oh, it's going to be so bad. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be like, it's literally going to be like 6 white dudes on a stage, and they're all going to like have a ruler, and they're going to all measure each other's dicks to see who should be the president. And then Donald Trump's going to show up like fucking it and just kill them. And yeah, it's going to be bad.
You don't think I don't know. You don't think like entertainer of some sort is going to step in and try to run with career politicians just because?
You mean like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson?
Sure, great example. Or how
Mark
about
Cuban?
Matt McConaughey?
Oh yeah, didn't he try to run for something?
He ran for something, yeah. And it was funny, but maybe he was serious. Who knows?
No, I mean, I'm sure there'll be those candidates, the like Michael Bloomberg type people that show up, but like they never have staying power. The only reason Trump has staying power is because he's fucking stubborn as hell. Like he's a giant dick who cannot let anything go, and that is literally the only reason he became president is because Obama made fun of him once at like the inaugural dinner, whatever the fuck it was, and Trump was like, "Oh, you think it's funny? I can be president." And he literally spent the next 5 years because a black man made fun of him. Like that's petty. That's beyond any kind of petty that normal people have. And that's coming from an Italian.
Sounds like America.
Yeah.
Kinda.
So like I'm sure some will run. I don't think any of them have the staying power to like stubbornly continue on even when it's like clearly a failed attempt. So anyways, Elliot, who's your 2024 election pick? Who's our president? Gun to your head.
I seriously don't know. I can't picture it. I'm trying to.
You gotta pick one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You, Andy.
That's it.
And
That's
so
the
it has
answer we
been
were looking
foretold.
for.
I am not old enough to be actually, am I? I will be old enough to be president.
Boom.
Maybe this is the
Start
the announcement
running,
party. Dick. Hey everyone, I'm running for president. I will abolish the position once I'm elected.
Perfect.
Be awesome.
You
Matt,
got to promise everybody you won't do that and then do it, because that's what a president would do. You got to start thinking presidential, bro.
Change your round on him.
All right, I just applied for the job. I'll be your VP.
There you go. Got the intersectional vote. You got a black man. You just got to start talking like Obama.
I understand.
Yeah. So Matt, what's your pick? 2024. Is it going to be Barack Obama 24? Michelle Obama 24.
Man, I think it's. I don't know. I don't think Harris will run because she's already so unpopular.
But she is stubborn as hell, so
Yeah. I don't know. I'd take the gun to my head.
probably a good
I should have said
choice.
that. I didn't.
Yeah. It's the best
That's what I
choice
should have
here.
said. Yeah. Damn it. Can I change my answer?
I'm going with Trump. Trump is going to win 2024.
Yikes.
And if he doesn't, there's going to be a civil war. So it doesn't matter. You may as well vote for him to stop the civil war. Deal with it later.
I don't know if I agree with that sick take there, Andy.
Classic.
What I'm saying, this is a strictly pro-Trump podcast now.
Pro-Trump
Maybe Joe Rogan will
accelerationist.
bring us on. We can join the Joe Rogan Spotify network. It'll be great.
Oh my god.
I'm just here to annoy people. I don't know why anyone listens to us. So yeah, anything else we didn't cover? Thoughts, concerns, complaints? You want to yell at a cloud? Anything like that before we wrap up? All right,
Fight.
silence from the other people. So I guess I'll just keep talking. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
I'll ask you the question that you ask everybody at the end of everything. Do you have anything that you want to plug?
Yes. So Matt and I have been involved with this project called Earthbound TV. It's basically a YouTube collective channel of various left-leaning farmer-type people, so that instead of us all trying to build different audience bases, we can all use like a common channel, which can help, much like the Spotify conversation about how people can't make money. Instead, we'd be able to collectively utilize our marketing from our different platforms in one specific space. People could do like one-stop shopping for a bunch of different agricultural stuff. So like obviously I know certain things, other people have different skills that I don't have. So the Earthbound TV concept is basically, if you want to get all of your ag content from left-leaning people, or you want people that you can trust or whatever, this is basically going to be like a one-stop shop for a bunch of different YouTube how-to content. So it'll be a really cool opportunity. I'm really looking forward to some of the cool stuff other people are making. We've been chatting for quite a while, and it sprung up organically. So if you don't follow Earthbound_TV on Instagram, you should do that. Also, we're obviously on YouTube, but it doesn't come up very easily when you search for it, because right now there's no videos up yet. So the best way to do it is follow the Instagram. Again, Earthbound_TV. I won't say who is involved, but a lot of us have been on It Could Happen Here. So that's cool.
Sounds like it's got some momentum. Hopefully
Yeah,
we get that off the
that's
ground.
pretty cool. And like I said, next week we've got an episode on Indigenous Ireland. It's going to be super dope. Very excited. Well, to Jer Bear's comment about the suburban chuds, I'm not really concerned about a lot of them, but I think history has shown us that it only takes like a series of unfortunate events and a handful of very motivated people for shit to happen and escalate. And like I said, Trump is particularly petty, and he's already been like riling up people about if he gets indicted in New York or whatever the hell's going on. I haven't really been paying attention, but he's been basically like, if they try to arrest me, we're going to start a civil war. So like, he's just on the civil war train now. He got away with it once. He's going to keep doing it until it happens. And yeah, the best thing that could happen is too much McDonald's. Doesn't seem to work though. I don't know why he's still alive.
McDonald's is still open though.
Yes. In the Civil War, absolutely. That shit shuts down.
They're a faction.
Yeah.
I mean, I could totally see McDonald's being like the truce ground for like both sides in a civil war. People just want to get something to eat. They're like, hey, no fighting here, man. I just want to get my Big Mac. That's very America.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my cool project that I'm working on. So go check it out. We've got this podcast going on, obviously. We've got tons of new content. We're basically caught up through like March right now for content, because I get busy the next couple months, so like we just had to get a little ahead of things. So we got some really cool episodes. I'm really happy with the stuff we've been working on. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Matt, you got anything?
Nope.
Ellie, you got anything?
Not this time.
All right. Cool, guys. This has been fun.
Hopefully, get some videos out. I do want to actually help you out, put some videos up on Earthbound. They're not going to be farm related, but they'll be a little bit louder.
Gunnier.
Yeah.
Gunnier. Okay, guys. See you.
Thanks, guys. Later.